Watch this review here with a look at Mr. Miracle from the DC Universe Classics Wave 6. Once again, this is the Kalibak wave, and he comes with the right leg of Kalibak. By now you've probably noticed that the packaging is in less than mint condition, but as my kindergarten teacher always used to say, it's what's on the inside that matters. Okay, I never actually had a kindergarten teacher who said that, but I imagine they say stuff like that. Moving right along, if you've watched my other reviews, you'll realize I'm pretty close to assembling Kalibak at this point. I still need to pick up Shazam, though. As for Mr. Miracle, for people not familiar with the character, he's one of the heroic new gods, so I don't care about him too much. The unpictured variant here is his nemesis, Dr. Impossible. Clever name, right? Now, I probably would have picked up the Dr. Impossible, but I think I ended up getting this as a 2-pack with something else, so... Plus, Dr. Impossible doesn't come with the manacles. I thought the manacles were a pretty cool accessory. There's a short read-up on the back if you want to pause it. Basically it says that he was raised in an orphanage on Apocalypse, but he managed to escape that and eventually I think he found his way to Earth, and then he was trained by an escape artist, and he's called Mr. Miracle for his ability to escape any predicament. And his listed occupation is actually super escape artist. Before we get into the character, let me just add this piece to the Build-A-Figure. Wow, wasn't that fast? Decided to do that off camera just because it took me like 30 seconds to put the arm on last time, so... As you can see, even without the other leg, he's a pretty tall character. He's... looks like a good half-inch taller than Mr. Miracle here. But he's also just a really, really wide character, so... Can't wait to finish him up. Like many DC Universe classics, Mr. Miracle stands about 6.5 inches tall. Here he is standing next to Hawkman from the same wave, and the DC superheroes Mongol, who is about 7 inches. As for Mr. Miracle, he actually looks pretty cool with all the accessories on and everything. My only problem here is that the legs look kind of funky, just the way that they line up. As you'll notice, he's got the mother discs on the feet, which enable him to fly, which I believe is probably causing part of the problem. The mother discs are removable, though. They actually have some pretty cool detail here on the bottom. Not to mention that the feet themselves have some additional detail here on the bottom. In fact, if you wanted to, you could actually just clip these into like some other DC Universe classic figures' feet, because most of them do have the little peg holes, but they don't fit as well. The manacles are also removable, and they look really cool. Lots of detail, lots of coloring with just little blues and golds in there to make it look really high-tech. My figure has a minor defect on it, by the way. It's a little paint discoloration that looks like a miniature coffee stain. By the way, I should mention that the colors are actually pretty vibrant in person. I just have it on a darker setting because, you know, I get a lot of glare and the resolution kind of goes crap when it's too bright. Now, there's a fair amount of paint variation in addition to just having various colors of paint on the figure itself. The yellows will get darker in places, like over here on the arms. Then up here at the top at the abs. Now I don't like how they shaded the red and black here on the legs. It looks really tacky. Especially because you don't really see it on any other red portion of the figure. But you've got a bit of coloration here with the face. I mean, wherever they used the yellows, they did a good job. Wherever the reds are, it looks kind of plain. And by the way, I think this is a unique cape. I don't remember seeing this cape on any other figure. But I could be wrong. I can never be 100% certain because, you know, I don't have a ton of the older ones. In terms of articulation, it's very standard DC Universe Classics. By the way, I should just specify that these things here weren't what I was talking about earlier. In case you didn't see the actual coffee stain over here. It's just a decoration. We have a rotating wrist. It goes a full 360 around. Very well concealed just because of the paint job. A single joint here at the elbow. A rotating bicep joint. My shoulders here have been giving me a lot of trouble on the right side. For some reason it's always one side that acts up. But in general they can't go too far up just because of the cape. Head goes, well, not too far around. My head's really loose too. As you can see, it'll go a fair amount down and up. Ab/diaphragm joint. Doesn't do too much just because of the cape in the back, but it will go forward if you want it to. Leg joints are really standard. Kicks out, kicks forward. but again, for some reason it looks like it's impeded a little bit. I don't know. Your thigh here will rotate a full 360, single joint here at the knee, and then we have a single pin joint here at the ankle. All in all, you know, the usual. Now I just want to call your attention to some of the additional detail on this figure. On the back of each bicep he has this weird patterning with little indents, and the muscle looks a little bit different than it does in other figures. This belt is really cool. It's a separate piece of plastic that they glued on. The belt matches these weird button things you'll see on the gloves and then down here on the boots. And the top of the cape here has a really different look to it. When I first saw the figure, I'd assumed that they'd just recycled a lot of the elements from the Red Tornado, but it's not even close. The Red Tornado's cape goes more in a wider look there, where this is really narrow, and then the cape itself is just spread out a lot further to the sides, or unfurled, if you will. Whereas Mr. Miracle's is not. On the whole, I definitely like this figure a lot more than I thought it would. Although my figure has some particular production defects, in addition to that little paint smear. It looks like the hip's a little bit detached, which might be why it doesn't stand 100% straight, but other than that, it's a really cool figure, and you know, this is probably one of the cooler figures this wave because the variant actually represents a different character, so you really have two picks when you're trying to decide where you want to get your one Kalibak leg from, which, you know, is always great. Until next time, folks, keep believing in the miracles.